Thanks for checking out 3D Products. I'm Donald Williams. I've brought in Francisco Mendoza, the 2014 SEMA buffing champion, to do this next demonstration. We're going to be taking this car that's obviously had a whole lot of damage. You've seen it in previous segments. It's got quite a few deep scratches in here. And really, instead of compounding it off and spending a lot of time, we're going to take our 3D 3000 grit sandpaper to cut it down and then buff it out with AAT 501 rubbing compound and 502 finishing polish. Francisco's going to show us how quickly we can get this done. When you're using a wheel and some sanding paper, you want to have a little bit more expertise than just doing this at home. You actually want to find out what you're doing first, because you want to make sure that you have enough clear. We know that there's still quite a bit of clear on here. We didn't really need to use a gun. We've been buffing on this car all day. Even though the owner never really did anything, it didn't really matter. Now with our paper, it's very inexpensive, but it does a great job. You just move your hand back and forth, you throw it on that palm sander, and it'll cut it out nice and quick. Lasts for quite probably a sheet or two, maybe do this whole hood and cut out what you need to get done. It's a really nice, refining, wet sandpaper. It's good for stepping up from a 1500 in the body shop or at home, taking off some heavy residue or some burr droppings that are pretty tough to compound. Sometimes you don't want to get too much into compounding because you create a lot of heat, and sanding is just much faster than trying to get a lot of those scratches out with the wheel and compound. How we do? So you see how it kind of dulled up the finish? You see the orange pill in there? That's what it's supposed to look like when you're done. And get ready to compound it out. There's a couple more scratches he's going to want to sand out here. Now obviously you can do a little bit faster with the 1500, but since there isn't a ton of clear, that's just enough to do with 3000, we didn't really want to go into the 1500 here. So now that we're done sanding, we're going to go through, and Francisco's going to show us his real talent. He's going to show us what made him the 2014 SEMA Buffing Challenge champion. Now, Francisco, did I mention to everybody, did you tell everybody what your 2014 SEMA Buffing champion? How do you feel about it? Pretty proud, right?
Yeah, pretty fun.
Pretty fun. Now, part of that's the compound and polish did help out, I imagine. Not so much as the buffing skill helped, but definitely the product helped out a lot. Okay. Now what are you going to run it at? How many RPMs?
I'm going to put it on 2 on this machine. It's 1500.
Now if you notice with we're using wool, a lot of people for some reason had this idea that wool was dangerous, and really the wool with 3D's pads that we have, it's all off the hide. It's real lamb's wool, and if you notice, there's not a shedding of the wool all over the place, which a lot of people had some issues with. Also, you can see basically it's cut, one pass and done. It's almost shined up. Now, what you're going to have, because it's wool, you'll have a couple wool pad or wheel marks and some holograms that are left behind, and that's why you need to have the second step with the polish and a foam pad. So there's this idea that people can finish with a wool pad, and that's not really practical. As of right now, there's not technology that allows it, and there's a reason being. Let me see the wool pad. The wool pad is not flat, and in order to get a hologram-free finish, you have to have a flat pad, a flat surface hit that clear coat. Otherwise, what happens is you get waves, microscopic waves, and that's what the wheel marks are caused from, because you're actually kind of canoeing the paint when you're doing this. Now, a foam pad, it's flat by nature. Okay, so at least our foam pads are flat. We have these in here to hold in the product more to allow a bigger cutting area, but when this pad is run down and he goes over, and he's going to show you right now, he goes over it nice and flat, and that is how you get that flawless hologram-free finish. So we've got a couple drops, and you want to make sure that you condition the pad if it hasn't had already product and stuff in it. Reason being is you want to avoid dry buff. Now the 3D products, the 502 goes, as if all 3D products, they go a long way. You don't need a whole lot of them. If you've noticed, the compound self-cleaned itself. There's not a big mess. We didn't have to wipe it down necessarily. And it's just a couple quick passes. Now I was using the K56 SBK Spider Black pad to finish. It's an extremely soft foam that we've shown on previous episodes or previous segments. It makes and creates and allows us to have the highest shine possible outside of just using our polish. It complements the polishes really well. And let's check it out. Geez, Francisco, you make that look too easy. We'll use some detail spray if you have some of this tape residue on there. And if you have a little bit of residue or extra cleanup, you can take 3D's detail spray. That creates a nice little lubricant and cleans up any compound or any polish or residue that you have left over without damaging the shine. Now look at that. Dang, I don't know if it's seen that type of finish since it came out of the factory. What do you think?
No, what we did when we did sand it, we revived all the clear, took all the dead ones, so that way it's a lot shinier, a lot better.
And it got down. Now, obviously, you've removed some of the clear, so people have to understand that. Yeah, there is some of the clear. That's the way you get into the shine. But it's like exfoliating. It's like dead skin. It's just basically dead paint. You're never going to get a shine unless you remove some of that clear. So you always got to make sure that you have some of the clear behind. Well, I appreciate you showing us how easily to do this. Now, the novice user should be a little bit more careful when they're doing this set,
right?
right?
Using a high speed and sanding paper, you get a little bit more of a skill.
Okay, yeah. Well, we appreciate it. Appreciate you stopping by and showing us how to do this. From 3D Products, I'm Donald Williams, and this is Francisco Mendoza. We'll catch you on the next episode.